about 10 years ago, when I was doing grime music a lot more, I remember a lot of us were talking about the grime scene, the rave scene changing. So the audience that came, because when we were young and going to the grime raves, it was like black people, it was everyone. But as we got older and grime was just still going on, the scene became like white. So a lot of young white kids, they were coming to the raves, which was great. Someone was there coming to the raves, you know what I mean? Helping grime artists still thrive, still get a living, blah blah blah. But I got to an age where I said, it's all about crowd response and crowd reaction. So you go in there, if you can get a wheel up on that was a good thing. And I'll see guys, big, strong black men, 26, 27 years old, go in there, and if they wasn't getting the crowd reaction from the 18-year-old young white kids from all over the place, they would go home upset. And I say, brother, you're stronger than that. We don't need it. We don't need it. And I got to the age where I said, I don't even need that, you know. But if I go on the stage and those little kids want to scream for me or not, guess what? I'm a black African in their country. I don't even need
what
it.
What you're saying is so deep because subconsciously it's approval.
That's what it really was. That's how it felt.
Which is what is a default setting in black people. Of racism, but just like that, that like mold
like
that's within us is to seek it.
And it really affected a lot of people that it wasn't getting, not just crowd reaction. We can talk about just putting out your music then and trying to appeal to the masses in the UK, trying to dress and act and trying to be a star.
Hold on. You just reminded me of something. So, listen, imagine, because I was having this conversation the other day, and I was saying like, Peru, Fireboy, Peru, yeah? Right. I'm saying to these people I'm having the conversation, man like Ed's a good guy. He's good, he's very talented. Ed Sheeran, yeah? He don't need to be on that song. He doesn't need to be on that remix. He don't need to be. And everyone's like, awareness this, awareness that. And I'm saying, that tune
It's just giving me something.
that tune Peru, that tune Peru was firing everywhere. Right. Like in the community, in the black community, firing. Not just the UK, in Africa, in America. These tunes are firing, So these people don't need to be on it. They don't need to be on it because they're not going to elevate it anymore, right? However, what's happening is back to the approval thing, these people feel like we need them to be on it because if Ed jumped on it, then
it's so deep.
And this is so deep. And this is the problem. See, for me, right, in that scene, white people, Asian people, them man need to be getting taxed. That's just my thoughts on it. Right. that's just my thoughts. Cause the reality is, music's us. Deep down, not even deep down, surface, music's us. Now, if we know who the enemy is and what happens, they have to get taxed. Yes, we can work, but you lot have to pay us because this is our thing. We can't just let Ed in. This is why Wiley, fucking Lord, how he come out and started speaking. This is what I'm saying about know who the enemy is, because whoever spoke out against him, you know who they are. You men are agents.
And just like Wiley, and he shut his whole
But that's my point. Know who the enemy is.
Why should he not?
Why should he not tell the truth?
Why should he have to be censored in that way? He should
because
be able to have an opinion.
Against their grain, isn't it?
I know, but what I'm saying is that thing around he can't even have an opinion, even if he's expressing himself, saying, "Listen, I'm done with this," and then let him say what he
shows. One thing I learned about that as well is that we wasn't educated. Sorry, when I say we, I mean like a lot of people wasn't educated as to what was going on within the music industry at that time, where they could even back Wiley and say, "Yeah, I'm with you." It's true. Why don't we say people like, "Are the Jews really?" Yeah, like, there's a lot going on out here. But where the knowledge was not out there, people couldn't even back it.
But there's also not a self-confidence, and this is what pisses me off. There's also not a self-confidence because they're like, actually, I don't want to touch Wiley because if I say you're talking truth, guess what? My shit's shut down. And it's like, if you don't stand for something, you stand for nothing.
Yeah, the togetherness was not there on that one, and on a lot of things. It's not
what he did for me personally, was bigger than any music that he's done. For
Yeah,
me,
yeah.
personally,
I
because
agree.
he spoke up for them.
I agree.
He spoke up for all of us.
100%.
All of us. Like,
He spoke to
my man took grime and said, he basically said, black people, come. This is ours.
Yes.
The power in that alone.
He said in one of his tweets, there's this thing called racism that I've been trying to ignore for many, many years within my career that I can't ignore anymore. He had enough. He basically had enough. And I remember when I even, like, we just went to the slave castle and I was told many times to come home, to come home, to come home. So when I did come back to the UK, I started making all the Back to Africa freestyles that I used to do. And I've done like 3 of them. And I was doing music again. I reignited my music again. It was more about the black empowerment struggle.
You got charged?
Yeah, that's it. I was charged up. I was moving nuts over here. I was fully black African, walking around telling them, you're African. Like, even if they're Jamaican, it's like, you're African. And they were trying to hear it like, man back then, like, man said, Caesar said you're African, so you're African. Yeah, which person said you're African? Like, but man was just seeing like how people around me, the scene, didn't support Roach anymore. Like, it wasn't like, I wasn't getting the same level of confusion. Has he got mad? Is he set myself for mental health now?
But
You know?
that's,
like,
and that's what I was about to say. The thing is, because enough people started throwing that out there with the whole Wiley thing about, he's getting mad, he's getting mad. And I thought, it's interesting, if someone goes against the grain, they've lost their minds. Like, we can joke and use it as a phrase, but they're not using it as a thing. But they say, no, but the point is, all the greats are mad.
come on.
Yeah? If you turn around and say to your average white person, but Albert Einstein, what did he create? And they'll go, oh, but he did this. But hold on, wasn't he mad? Yeah, all the greats are mad. Wiley is compared, he's got the same title as James frigging Brown. They are both the Godfathers.
Right.
Yeah? He created his sector, Wiley created his. But yet people try to rob them of it. The difference is they weren't successful in the ways because his grounding is too strong.
But now it ties in to mental health.
Exactly, because when they can't take you down, they will try any means necessary.
The music industry is really interesting, especially for people who look like us, because we have been mind-fucked into thinking that a person that is getting so much money in music and can do A, B, C, D, and E is successful. I just told you what Wiley did speaking out
Was more successful.
was more powerful than anything that he's done. Because once you stand strong as a black man in this shithole and say, yo, this is it, you've arrived.
Your target.
You've arrived.
Just like you, that's the stuff I read.
And that
kind of stuff.
is success. But us as people, we look at external things. We look at, oh, conqueror, master, yes, I'm successful. When really, that's the stuff that keeps you in shackles.
And you see that game there is such a controlled game. Like before, like, let's say 10 years ago, when a lot of us were trying to get in it or trying to do something within the industry, when I deeped it, I was like, wow, they're only picking a handful of man anyway. This is like a plantation, but they're just picking. They're only taking Reg,
The
Tiny,
best of.
Chip, Tinch. You've only got like 4 or 5 man at a time. So I'm like, but there's so many of us out here though. I was like, guys, I think we need to either do our own thing or find another industry. This one here, when you're talking crud about licking over man and killing man, you're gonna get the record deal. Like, they're gonna put you in front of the nation.
You keep
to make
taking
sure-
me to pass. Look, if you can't go on wax and give the same energy that you give to black people, to white people or Asian people, then something's wrong and you failed. Because I want to hear that. And it's fucked up, but hear what? Do you know how refreshing, I say this, but peep it. It would be so refreshing to hear a black man say, I'm going to lick down that guy, that's not black. Because it's new, it's a new narrative.
I hear you.
Bro, it's a
I
new
hear you.
narrative, it's
I hear
different,
you.
it's fresh.
I hear you.
And think about what that does, it's like, oh shit, but it's like,
That's
why is he saying that?
Guys,
Running for their lives.
But it's okay when we're licking down each other because that feeds the narrative
that's
that they
allowed.
portray that fucks us up as a whole. As a whole, not singular, as a whole. Because as a black man, I'm him outside. I'm you outside.
You know what it is? When we're deep and understand all these things, my question is sometimes what we're doing about it. You know, sometimes not much. Like, because we've had these conversations 10 years ago when we clocked certain things. I'm like, let's do something about it. But the energy's not always there. Sometimes we don't know what to do.
It's fair. Most of the time,
Yeah, sometimes it is
it's
fear,
fair.
yeah.
When I say fair, it's fair on different levels.
I think on that topic, right, not everybody can be Thierry Henry. You get what I'm trying to say, yeah? So, people may have had the conversation 10 years ago, 20 years, 50 years ago, but just because they're not banging in 30 goals a season doesn't mean they're not doing anything. Do you get what I'm saying?
100%.
Just saying to, maybe you might be at work and someone says inappropriate, someone says something inappropriate, that's a microaggression, and you say, do you actually know what you just said? And then break it down. That's typical. That's enough.
You know what?
Something.
And people need to learn more about the situation before they can do anything. I think it takes time.
I think bang on, bro, because you've got people out here, like you think about the last 2 years we were talking this Black Lives Matter shit, and then when you penny, what are you really saying? Like, okay, Black Lives Matter, so what do you want to do about this? They don't have a clue. And so what happens is you've got bare people following these influencers who are leading them off a cliff, because there's no substance behind this kind of thing. Rather than you've got people who, you really need people who have an intelligent understanding about what needs to be done and how they can do it. So like the financial thing would be someone who obviously understands economics of the world and the systems and things like that, and can break it down in a way which we can understand, because that's the other thing. Everyone who does know doesn't matter to break it down in a way which makes sense.
Right.
With us obviously understanding the law, I've had to now take the law and understand how this going to make sense to people, so they know how to play this game, if that makes sense. So it's like everyone who has got that information needs to be able to kind of dissect it and make it so simple that it makes sense. It's like re-educating ourselves.
That I've found that takes time, and that's you've got to have the conversation a lot to start figuring out how to come about, how to go about it. The interesting thing that you were just saying about the Black Lives Matter movement and that time, I remember seeing and hearing from a lot of people that was the first time they actually realised that racism was actually a thing. They didn't know about racism before. Like black people, they were saying, fucking hell, there's racism in the UK. I was like, fuck, where have you been on it to me? I can't believe that you've not seen.
That's the ignorance, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like, I think
Less ignorance is bliss.
But then I started to question myself, like, why am I not like that? How comes I can't just plod along and be like that?
Because you were chosen,
They're
isn't
not
it?
supposed to be.
That's what I'm saying. Like, this is like, you know, not everyone can come.
Not everyone can come.
Everyone
Not
to the
everyone
good
can
girl.
come.
If you have the choice,
Sorry,
you
Jay.
have to look in the mirror and see what you are